Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. If you're joining me live and you're in the UK, it's 4 p.m. For us here. And yes, we're back here with my weekly live stream. So it's happening every Wednesday. If you ever want to join us live, in case you're watching this on the replay, that's where you can find me. Oops, sorting out my technical issues. There we go. It's the first one of the year, so of course things will be going wrong. As I had a little bit of a break, which has been quite nice actually. But I'm back and I've got a lot of exciting interviews lined up as well over the next few weeks. So make sure you keep listening, make sure you keep coming back and you ask all your questions. That's what I'm here for. That's what my interview guests will be here for as well. So if you are here live in the chat, please feel free to let us know where you are. Come and say hello, so I can see. There's already Smith Axis here saying hello. 20 years old from India, have scoliosis S shape, thoracic cob angle is 48, and the lumbar cob angle is 38 degrees. Can I cure my scoliosis with yoga and physiotherapy? Can I have cervical spine cob angle 28? Please reply. Okay. Hi. Thanks for joining and thanks for asking your question. I will be talking about pain and scoliosis today, so just to bear that in mind. But in general, this is a question which always comes up, and I would say to that you do have quite a severe curvature. So I would say that you cannot straighten your spine purely with yoga poses. So if you want to go down that route, surgery is probably your best option. However, there's a lot of things that you can do to improve your posture, and you could maybe even reduce your curvature. But if you're looking for complete straightening, I'm not a believer in any of this, so sorry to disappoint you. But do come back in a couple of weeks where I'll be talking to Adeline Chung exactly about this problem. Can yoga cure scoliosis? So she is one of my teachers. She's a very experienced yoga teacher. She will be able to give us her opinion on this topic, and maybe she will even bring her x-rays. That would be amazing. So let's dive into this topic. So Kelly is here from San Diego. Liz is here from Yorkshire. Lovely. Robin is here from Canada. Hello, welcome. So first back chat of the year, we'll be talking about scoliosis and pain. So feel free to let me know. I think what is always interesting to know, let me know what your curvature is. So Nish, I hope I'm saying your name right, has already told us it's got quite a big curvature. Can you tell me what is your curvature if you know it? And how would you kind of say, what's the level of pain that you're experiencing from 0 to 10? 0 being no pain, 10 to being a lot of pain. So, for example, and this is difficult to say, obviously, for me, it changes really from day to day. So for me, I would say I've got a 25-degree lumbar curve, and my level of pain at the moment is 3. I'm generally okay this week. Beginning of the week has been quite different, but let us know. Let us know in the chat. Mo is here from Berlin. Hello. Francesco is here from Manchester. Good. Lovely. So S-shaped scoliosis, tell us what the level of pain is. Do you experience any pain? And especially if you are in your 20s, do you have pain? If you're a little bit older, do you have pain? So let's just kind of get an overview of those people that are here. And I can see there are about 20 people watching live. So I can see you. Let me know in the chat what your experience is of pain. Okay, so yes, I suffer from pain in the lower back. Anthony, can I completely remove rib hump with yoga because I have a small curve at the bottom of my spine? So as I said, we'll be talking about if yoga can actually cure scoliosis in a couple of weeks' time with Adeline Chung. So make sure that you tune into that. We're talking about pain today, so I'm going to keep it on topic. Hi, Kavita. Now, Kavita is an expert on pain, so tell us a little bit more about tell us how you're feeling, Kavita. That would be really, tell us what the degree of your curvature is, and right now, what the level of pain is. So level of pain is 5 and 22 years old, right? 20, a little bit of pain in the right shoulder blade and lower back, right? And I don't know if that's 20 degrees curvature or 20 years old. Good. Let's see if I've missed anyone here. Yes, I have. So Mo is saying right C curve, 28 degrees, 8 to 10, pain. There's a lot of pain going on there. Sometimes after stupid postures, if I don't stay in bad postures, there's usually no pain, 20 years old. Okay, great, excellent. And Robin is saying S curve, 35 degrees last time I checked. Don't have daily back pain since I stopped working. Basically, working is bad for you, right? Good. And suffering with muscle spasm. Good. Francesco is saying 7 level of pain, scoliosis, S-curve scoliosis. We don't know the degrees, but is 32 years old. Good. Lovely. So keep them coming, keep them coming. And I think what is interesting, what you will see is that there is no direct link between, first of all, the level of pain and the degrees of your curvature. So it's not like the bigger your curvature is, the more pain you've got. And we might also see that there is hopefully, well, I don't know, there might be a relationship between how old someone is and how much pain they've got. Good. Kavita is saying spasm is my pain problem. Tatiana is here. Hello, good morning. Good. So 45 degrees is Kavita's curve. And level of pain varies between 0 to 4. So 0 is nothing, right, Kavita? And 10 is being a lot. So tell me if I'm seeing this right. So, and if I am, I'm so pleased. So Kavita is one of my one-to-one clients. So we have been doing some yoga together, but I know that there was a lot of pain in the beginning, and that she was really struggling with that. Good, lovely. So let's get into it. I did make a few notes about this. Is quite a big topic, and let me know if you can relate to this. So the first thing I kind of heard, usually here when I would talk to health professionals, depends on who it is. Nowadays, I seek out scoliosis professionals, obviously, who know kind of about the condition. But very often I hear this thing about coming from doctors, coming from surgeons, scoliosis doesn't cause pain. Let me know in the chat if that's something that you've heard before. Scoliosis doesn't cause pain. And then that's almost implying that you're imagining this pain, right? Which I think is not a great thing to do, because if you are experiencing the pain, then it's real, right? So let me know if that's something that you can relate to. Stacy saying, hello, I'm Stacy. I have scoliosis. I don't know my exact degree, 21 years old, level of pain 0 to 3, recently started working and have no more time to do my physiotherapy exercises. Any advice? My advice would be, dear Stacy, first of all, great that you're not having pain, and that should be like this at 21 years old. But I would say make the time for your exercises, right? And I understand if you started working, your routine might have changed. There's a lot of things you might have to organize now. Maybe you have to commute to where you're going. That takes up time and all of that. But I would say even if you can find 10 minutes a day, And everyone can find 10 minutes, right? Maybe it's getting up 10 minutes earlier. Maybe it's 10 minutes less of watching TV in the evening. Something like that. Schedule it in, make it a priority. Your body will thank you for it in the long term. And any of those who are a little bit older and who can relate to this, like myself, the best thing you can do is build up this routine when you're in your 20s, right? And it will make such a big difference when you're getting older, when you will really, really need it. And it's difficult to start something when you're it's much easier to do it when you're 20 rather than when you're 50 or 60, and it's getting quite severe. Good. So Liz is saying I've heard that. So yes, that's about some health professionals saying that scoliosis doesn't cause pain. My orthopedic says I don't need surgery. My curve won't progress. Great. And very often, so if you are an adult and your scoliosis, I'm not quite sure what the exact limit. It's probably different from surgeon to surgeon as well, or what they're saying. Some of them say if it's under 25 degrees, the chances are quite low that it's going to progress. When you're an adult, if it's higher than that, it might progress 1 degree a year. Again, where are we getting this figure from? I believe this is very, very individual, and who can predict that? I'm sure there are some statistics about this, but does that apply to you? I don't know. Good. So Tatiana is saying I have scoliosis, but I don't have pain, but I do exercises all my life. I'm 40. Good. Let's assume that you don't have pain because you've been doing exercises. Leonie is saying lots of love from Germany. Hi. I'm only 16, but my pain is quite severe, but yoga helps me a lot, so thank you. You're very welcome. 16, way too young to experience pain. I have to say I was the same. So that's when my pain started, when I was kind of in my teenage years. And a lot of the doctors would dismiss me and would say, no, scoliosis doesn't cause any pain. This basically can't help you. Sorry. Not very helpful, right? So let's get into this a little bit more. Pain is obviously, it's quite a big subject. There's different types of pain, right? You can have pain from breaking your leg. You can have toothache. You can have pain that comes back. You can have pain that is there all the time. So generally, we differentiate between acute pain and then we have the chronic pain. So acute pain would be something, a problem which is there right now. You might have twisted an ankle. You might have kind of done something to a joint. Think of kind of an injury or something that comes quite sudden. And that can kind of be, sometimes you don't know exactly where it's coming from, but usually it's something that hasn't been there before, and that is quite sudden, and it can be quite localized as well. So kind of an area where you can point your finger towards and say, "Ooh, that's where it hurts." Now, chronic pain is pain that comes back all the time, or it's pain that is pretty much there most of the time. So I've had a lot of yoga clients, one-to-one clients in my Zoom sessions who were saying that they almost got used to the pain. So they're like, oh, the pain is there all the time. And then, oh, actually, today it's not there. So that is kind of not great, obviously, but this would be a chronic pain, right? This is a pain that comes back or that is there all the time. So that is the type of pain that we can work with more easily in yoga than the other. If it's something acute, obviously, if you've twisted your ankle, yoga is not your best option, right? Then you go to see a physiotherapist, you go to see a doctor. And the same thing with kind of sharp localized pain near a joint. is something that I would really get checked out by a health professional. Have someone see you, look at it, touch it, suggest some treatments. Chronic pain is different. So this would be the type of pain like I was describing, even when I was a teenager. Kind of the thing where like, they tell you, well, you do have scoliosis. There's nothing we can do. There's nothing kind of specifically suggested for you. So basically get on with it, and you're going to have to learn with the pain. This is a great kind of example of when yoga can be super, super helpful, and really any scoliosis specific exercise, because you will kind of realize that this is something that you have an influence over. And this is sometimes with pain, that's the difficult bit. So we feel powerless, we feel like something is wrong with us. Why is it there, this pain? Who's there to help me? But with this sort of pain, it's kind of I have found that the best way to kind of deal with this, after going down the route of checking with your health professionals, is to really kind of go inside and maybe kind of first of all think or try to feel your way around your body and see where that pain might be coming from, and trying out different strategies to deal with that. So I will talk about this a little bit more, but let's have a look back at the chat where we've got lots of conversation. So I'm sorry if I'm missing your comments, but obviously keep chatting with each other as well. Good. Yes, any kind of movement. Yes, motion is lotion. Absolutely. Definitely. Movement is definitely something, and sometimes it's something that feels kind of counterintuitive, right? You feel like you've got this pain. I'd rather sit still and not move. Maybe then it will go away. Sometimes resting is good, right? Again, if it's acute pain, then then it can be a really good idea to just rest, ice pack, depending on what it is, if it's near a joint or if it's muscle pain. Heat is really, really good. Rest it. But even then afterwards, so any physiotherapist will tell you to start moving again after a while. So even that resting that's just temporary, then you will start to move again. Good. So Stacy's saying, I sit in my office all day in my office. My posture is really bad. What can I do to improve my posture and not let my curve to worsen? Okay, yes. So Stacy, sitting in the office, and this is one thing as well, which I have noticed. So UK is in complete shutdown, lockdown again at the moment, which is difficult for everyone. So, even for me as a yoga teacher, I spend my day kind of teaching yoga, but I also sit quite a lot at my desk. And I kind of feel like, especially in this situation at the moment, we don't get that normal kind of exercise or the normal kind of break during the day where we're just going out, going to the shops. I would kind of go drop my kids off in school to school and come back, which is not happening at the moment. So think about, you do have to take this seriously, right? So I cannot emphasize this enough, because you will regret it basically if you just kind of let it slide. So build up a good habit. Stacey, if you've just kind of started your job, build in some breaks. And I don't know if you work in a big office, if there's lots of people around, but make sure that you can get up once in a while, you can move around, reset, ideally every 45 minutes or so, but I know that this is not always possible. But there's a lot of things that you can do at your desk as well. You can do kind of like a seated cat-cow, like rounding and arching, some gentle movements, some little side stretches, just kind of getting a little bit of movement. into the body, and have a look maybe at some chair yoga examples on YouTube as well. So they can be really, really useful. Just little things that you can do to kind of reset your body. Because what happens if you're stuck in this position, in this very unnatural position of sitting on a chair? Actually, we're not designed to be sitting on a chair. Then, you come into this position where your shoulders are rolled forwards, your lower back is probably quite flat, maybe even rounded. Your upper back, if you have a thoracic scoliosis, there will be even more prominence or rib hump on one side if you are kind of in the seated position, and it will get tighter, it will get tighter, it will get tighter, it will be difficult to release. So think of your movement as something to reset the body. So, and that's the best way of preventing pain. And I'm really glad that you are bringing this up, because that's something I hadn't actually put into all my notes. What is really important is that even if you don't experience pain at the moment, you want to make sure that you can prevent it and that it's not happening in the future. And then, of course, everyone experiences pain at some stage, right? But what you don't want is the pain that is there all the time, that is really, really difficult to get rid of. Good. Can I do yoga and physiotherapy together to cure scoliosis? Mentioned that in the beginning. Remember, go back to the beginning. That's where I talked about this. Good. Robin is saying, my doctor tells me all I can do for my scoliosis right now is pain management, but doesn't suggest any pain management techniques. Yeah, great, right? Always so helpful, isn't it? Yeah, do some pain management, but it's up to you what you're doing basically. Yes, and what exactly does he mean by that? Does he mean taking drugs? You know, hopefully not, but I don't know. You're in Berlin, right, Robin? I think I read you're in Berlin. So if you're in Germany, I'm from Germany, as some of you know, but I've been living in the UK for a long time. And what they do in the UK very often, if they don't know what to do, they tell you to take paracetamol. So they tell you to take painkillers. Sorry, I am laughing. It's not funny really at all. But yes, and obviously I'm not saying don't take any painkillers, but really that should be your last option. And I can tell you a little example. For me, for example, this week, um, again, I am a yoga teacher, but I also experience pain sometimes. Ta-da! Just because I'm alive and my body gives me signals of when something isn't right. So that's the best way to think about it. Think of it as pain is um, the way that your body wants to tell you something. Something isn't quite right. Please hear me, do something about me. So this is kind of changing your relationship to pain. So don't think of it as something that is terrible. You want to get rid of it. Don't want it. Of course, it's not pleasant, but it's also something that can be super helpful. If you didn't have the pain, there's a lot of things, you could have your hand in fire and you wouldn't even notice it, right? So pain is good in a way because it grabs your attention. It tells you to do something about what you're doing. So back to my example, it was on Monday morning, I think, and I woke up and I had slept badly, funny, like the whole thing at the moment, lockdown, blah blah blah, all boring. Stress and what are we doing with the kids all day and all of that. And so I didn't sleep very well. And I noticed that my back was like really going into this complete spasm, like just gripping and tightening so much. Then when I actually then got up, and usually my go-to thing is just do a little bit of movement when I get up, do a little bit of kind of yoga movements, even if it's not a full practice. But I noticed I couldn't even do that. It was just too painful. I actually found it difficult to breathe because it was so painful. Um, but then it's about, you know, I started to ask myself a few more questions about this. So you can get really caught up in this pain thing. But the things that I have really found very helpful, and I did a psychology and scoliosis course with um, Elisabetta Agata um, just for Christmas, actually, and it was super helpful about pain. And it's just asking yourself some questions like, what does this pain want to tell you, right? Why is it there? Um, and again, it might be simply that I've been lying wrong somewhere in my bed or funny movement or something like this. Um, but why is it there? Where exactly does it originate? This is always interesting as well. Is it something that moves around? Does it change? And when I have like spasming muscles, um, I feel like it's not moving, right? It's stuck, and that is the sort of pain which is really annoying. When pain moves around, I think that's a good thing. That means that it's like a little here and there. It's like little whispers sometimes. It's not like a full-on shouting at you, get me out of here. But it's just giving you like little hints. Maybe change your posture, maybe move around a little bit more, maybe do, slightly different things. But the spasming is slightly different. Um, so yes, so first of all, I ask myself these questions before I know myself quite well nowadays, so I know what type of movement I can do to kind of get out of this. And again, if it's tightness, I know which yoga poses to do, and this is something I teach in my practice transformation course as well, where we really go through how are you feeling on the day, and then which yoga poses should you be practicing according to how you're feeling. So that is starting on Sunday, actually. So if you still want to register for that, last chance is tomorrow. So you can find the link below in the description as well. Um, but then the other thing is obviously, so I've asked myself kind of where is it coming from? Is it moving around? And things like what would it be like if the pain wasn't there? And this was quite an kind of an overwhelming type of pain. So my first kind of instinct, and sometimes you have to go with your instinct, right? My first instinct was I need to just go for a walk, just very gentle and, without children. I don't know if anyone has, if you've got children, like mine are 7 and 8, so they still hold my hand, but they pull on my arm all the time. And, if you have something going on in your back, that can be quite painful. So I went without kids, just went for a walk kind of around the block. That's about it, what we can do at the moment here in the UK. And that was really helpful already, that just that kind of gentle resetting and all of that. And then I did a little bit of kind of all the things that come, if you need heat or if you need cold, right? So for me, it was like bringing some heat on there because I had these muscle spasms. Um, and then my yoga on that day was pretty much just lying on my back and breathing, and then lying on my front and breathing. Um, and then I slowly started to build it up. So I'm absolutely fine now again. It disappeared. But this is what I mean, that you have to kind of you need to learn those strategies of how to deal with this pain when it comes. And yeah, the more you're kind of interested in this, the more you will learn, and the more you will know how to help yourself really as well. Good. I hope I didn't bore you with this story. Right. Okay, so Johanna is saying discomfort 6 today, trying to hold frame left curve. Exercise every day. Great. Good. Fantastic. So Joe, right? Joe has been practicing with me as well on a one-to-one basis. Yes, and sometimes, especially if it's something that has been there for a while, I'm just thinking of Joe now. Um, it can take a little bit of time, right? It's not going to happen overnight. If it's something that has been, and every therapist will tell you this as well, if the pain has been there for a long time, you cannot expect it to just kind of leave overnight as well. Like my pain came overnight, right? But then it took a couple of days, but it left relatively quickly as well. If it's something that has been there for a long time, I'm not saying that will take the same amount of time to get rid of it, but it will take a little bit more time because your body has already gotten used to this type of pain. Liz is saying GP can refer to the pain management service. There are two different arms to it. I found living with pain from them helpful. Great. Thank you so much, Liz, for sharing that. And yes, you kind of have to, especially if you're in the UK, you have to kind of know who to ask and what to ask, right? Otherwise, it's a little bit confusing. Do you have yoga for uneven hips? Yes, check out some of the videos, definitely. Look for the lumbar scoliosis ones. If I exercise and do my physiotherapy exercises every day, do you think I will be able to avoid pain? And I always wondered with scoliosis, is it possible to get kids who do not get scoliosis too? Right, there's a few questions in there. So let's talk about the pain one first. Will you be able to avoid pain? Um, as I said in the beginning, everyone experiences. As long as you're alive, you will experience pain at some stage, right? Oh, I think that was my